be reading a few pieces from the magazine I co-edit with Ricky Lee Bauman, who's here as well. It's called Synergy Zine. We do events all around, we do release parties, and we have a poetry reading coming up at the convent in February. Yeehaw! We like poetry. This first piece is coming from the deserts of Nevada. You're right about the lack of vision up here. Here we go.
Backlighting.
Backlight, yeah? Is that what you're doing it? Okay. This one's called Unfolding of the Heart. It started out with a vial of vague quality, an indeterminate vial that was pressed into my palm. I said I'd play guinea pig, and a single droplet permeates a sugar cube, then my tongue. I ponder her final words as she had pushed it into my palm. 3 days I lay in a place that was sometimes dark and sometimes light. In retrospect, the days trickling slowly by. Liquid time, and tasty too. First, an extension into space. 3 feet above the ground with a heightened eye line. A physical extension of mind. Teetering through intersections and beaming my way through crowds. The stilt bar, sleeping tenders, the open desert, cabana oasis, hold me. One uncle stares up and says, "You're really high right now." "You know it, brother," I respond. Dance floor, wild, really wild times. They're playing a song inside of me. What a mashup, baby. But then, as always, out of sync, a feral retreat. The crowds like ants, the thick press and blaring backbeats driving me like wolf from civilization away. And as night falls, the pains of altitude bring me down to rest in a valley of doubt and wonderment. Supine in the dark, I debate whether to venture on or to perish. Pulling the stilts from my trembling legs, I stride onward in the quest to unfold the heart-shaped banner so long I've carried incomplete. With eyes aghast on the alkaline outskirts, I shudder past and catch a glint of azure peeking out from sunken sockets. And she, seeing the blank banner beneath my arm, from her satchel pulls thread and spindle and begins weaving Ayurvedic symbols of life, love, and healing into its folds. What she shares is of the utmost import, and thick lips too. And feeling for the first no need to escape, I ate of her intersections, heart and mind. For her, a poem. We double took each other and then took each other by the heart, mind, and elbow. She was deep and wise and pained, and I could have loved her given time, could have given her time given love. The aesthetic rays attained, still my cool flame burned like an oil-slicked river. And in the dark desert we wandered, and her amethyst eyes blackly illumined the invisible night. I couldn't penetrate those depths, but tremors still rippered through her conduit, and the buzz was enough to rattle up my spine, setting the first to the seventh in line. And then we said goodbye. And with watery words we wove a garment, fitted for 4, a cloak of stars ripped from the low-hanging heavens. Her medicine was potent but gentle, and it led me to her. And when the sun arose to meet our lofty gaze, we tried to sleep, but restless we kissed in parted ways. In this bright new day, remnants of affection caked my heart as the sand did my skin. I ventured off alone again, my banner no longer just a banner, but a garment crafted to my limbs. Peeking her head out from within a sandstorm, another lovely apparition coos to me, like Narcissus at river's edge. And fighting the urge to hide my newly woven banner, I submit to synchronicity and wanderlust. And staring into her face, I recognize my own reflection. Goldie, with cinnamon skin and exquisitely crafted limbs. And like the third daughter, a joyous appreciation for life and coffee. Dressing her in pleated affection, she wore the garb well and reciprocated. And when the surface of the lake rose above the low-hanging heavens, breakthrough. And we glittered together, exploring the abstracts of attraction with poses and doting that left us pliable. And feeling well received, we groped about the desert lavishly, then parted with a longing kiss still unfulfilled. But unfurled was the banner, as if with current jolted. Separate now even from my skin, gently it flew above in the calm nocturnal winds. And intending to lock eyes with azure once again, I happened upon an old friend with a soft spot for me and one nipple hanging out. Pulling her upon the dance floor, we pressed together in techno-orchestral swell, and with sweat upon sweat upon sweat upon the undulating dance floor, in flames we found ourselves, leaping round like lunatic shaman in the circular summoning of salamander and efreet. And without much pomp, nor brass cavalcade of sound, I was hollowed out and sluiced in a deluge of fiery geysers and seeping streams. And as she pulsed beneath me, purification, another past banished, another dense packet of data wiped clean from her spine and mine. And the banner fell from its spire, dissolved into the fecunded earth, and arose again as a red chrysanthemum, no longer some quest, but a living monument to the unfolding of my heart and all its parts. Thank you.
Yeah!
Yeah, some crazy shit happens at Burning Man.
With classical references.
Yeah. You got it. All right, this one's from Wabi Sabi. This is our fourth edition. This is a few haiku. I know haiku is supposed to involve seasons and blah, 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 but I kind of made it my own. A few haiku. 1, a welcome mistake in her womb, memorial for youth incarnate. 2, dug her a grave, yet put another dog in it. Don't rush me, she barked. 3, she blew smoke in my face. I thought she wanted to fuck, but she sought a fight. We split the difference, combined the two, and stayed up for 17 nights. Now, battered and bruised, and missing a tooth or two, on sex and death I muse. There's more haikus. We got 2 more haikus. Number 4. Even a house of cards can cause tremors as it falls. Fare thee well, Belle Reef. 5. A swirl in a stream, a fixed shape in constant flux, as am I and you. Such restless grasping at rocks in this infinite sea of sky we inhabit. Assumptions, possessions, stealing precious space in our being. Now, to form a live mandala by placing gems on my river's bed. 6. I ask, is a moth's life any less brilliant for its brevity? I don't think so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got 2 more pieces. Do we want the heartfelt one, or do we want the psychedelic one next?
Psychedelic.
Psychedelic. All right. We're doing psychedelic. You guys just asked for some lyrical poetry. It's called Joyride, and it's a compilation of 3 psychedelic trips. So I was like, sometimes it takes 3 to really give the whole story. If you don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about, that's okay, because neither do I. That's fine, so we'll just read this. We'll have fun with our ears. Joyride. Brief peeks through gathered reeds, with hands slow and direct parting the greens. Face sliding between into the black and clustered stars, into the trickling streams, then rising deluge from the fat-faced moon's warm rays. Tears gathering, eyes welling into the release of oblivion swell, as velvet yawns smooth the clumps, second chakra unclench, expand, engorge. Cosmic body conduit, orgasmic central nervous station synergistically set aflame. Wiggling streams wielding chaos webs, hot acid baths swarming skin, entropic matter seeping, seeing matter being pulled apart again. Rent clock in a basket spinning, reassembled, resembling my semblance. My corporeal topsoil soiled, purged, sluiced in dripping moon juice, unfurled. Water and dirt made my muddy heart pump like goat skin stretched tight with might into the snarling rhythmic night. Teeth clenched, eyes bared, a warrior mask initiation. Surging, pulsing, overwhelming, a lover's invocation. An escape from headspace mausoleum, where you share beds with the dead and forget you've ever seen the clouds spread. Discontent to play hide and seek with Argus, rather peering soft his ghostly lens. Silver-haired vision, you've taken me through the glass once again. Crumbling roses fill our hands as we sway to the mellifluous urban orchestral band. Hammers and hummingbirds, swishing slam to the syncopated rhythm of falling sand. Staring, still swaying as the bush begins to beat with birdsong and pumps like a mountainous heart into my mouth, all agape and glazies all aglade. And now finally content to pull my head back from the brush and green weeds, having transcribed enough to carry home as cheat sheets written in leaves and blood-covered ink this narration. The frog and throat song of a seventh dimensionally faceted stone head, still ringing out in reverb-veiled majesty as I bolt up drenched in cold sweat from my earthen bed. All right, one more.
Yes!
All right. Now we're going to open our hearts and examine ourselves. This is iconoclast. This is before we printed in color. So we're poor college students. All right. This is called Grandfather Clock. It's one of my favorite pieces. My grandfather and I had a nightly ritual of scotch, soda, and storytelling. Usually he would tell the stories, and I would sip the scotch and soda, which worked well for us both because he had more tales to tell, and I had more thirst to quench. Often as he would struggle to weave the ends of a 50-year-old yarn together, he would give up in frustration and digress into the details of what it's like to get old. He'd say, every morning you put on your eyes, you put in your ears, you put in your teeth, you take a pill for your waning memory, a pill for your degenerating mind, a bag of prunes for your clogged bowels, a case of Gatorade for your cramping legs, and so on. I would say, thank God for modern technology, huh? I'm so blind I'd probably be a basket weaver or something. He would say, just thank Johnny Walker, who makes it all bearable. And his clouded rheumatism eyes would smile. I would say, the young have their own regimes too, you know. Though rather than build our failing bodies up, they break our nubile forms down, a balancing act of the ages, I suppose. How we would take a shot and a beer 10 times over to lubricate the anxious grind of our minds and to placate the worry that we may never find our path. How we would drink bucket loads of water when we wake with 4 aspirin to combat a hangover, then resort to chugging dog hair out of desperation. How we tremble like green reeds in the roaring river of establishment and drink countless cups of caffeine to keep up with its violent flow. How we sit for hours in front of a computer, in front of a TV, living lives of fantasy because reality never seemed to stack up to what we'd been sold. How we toke up or hallucinate to give our eyes the same clouded, rheumatism-stricken sight that his now naturally possess. I expect all this to cheer him, at least make him remember that youth is as difficult as old age, though it seems to only set him awash in nostalgia instead. I tell him of my friend Genta, always manic in high school, who seemed to be turning into a sage man, at least given the endless stream of MySpace bulletins and blogs proclaiming new life's truth he'd uncovered. Until the blogs stopped, and we discovered that he'd driven his parents' car through a fence onto the freeway with a flat tire, how he'd then gotten into a wreck, attempted to hijack a police cruiser, and then ran across the 210 freeway to be plowed over by a big rig. Stone fucking sober. My grandfather put down his glass when I told him this and said to me, I've found that those who restlessly grasp the truth, lifting stones for the rich grubs of wisdom beneath, are those hungriest for sanity. Like Hemingway, like Eliot, like Morrison, like Smith, like Hutz, like Genta, like myself, like most writers, like most youth. Sitting there staring at me through his clouded, rheumy eyes, he reached over and patted me on the back, saying, Michael, it'll be all right. One day, you'll be putting your teeth in your mouth every morning instead of that cigarette and beer. And I said, Grandpa, I hope all 3.